Having a modest appearance isn't about deprivation. Rather, it's a strategic choice that helps you build a stronger financial foundation and ultimately protects your wealth in the long run. AKA, being rich and looking rich is the quickest way to go broke, while being rich and looking poor is the surest way to stay rich. And that's why today I'm gonna share with you 5 reasons of why it's more important than ever to look poor, so that one day you can get rich and stay rich. Reason 1 of why it's important to look poor. It keeps life simple. Listen, when you get rich and start making more money, it's really easy to fall into the trap of wanting to accumulate more and more stuff. But the downside of accumulating more stuff is that stuff comes with baggage. Let's say you want to upgrade your house to a 5 or 10,000 square foot mansion. Have you thought about what the yard work looks like there? Or let's say you want to buy that shiny, fancy new sports car because that's what rich people drive. Do you know the amount of maintenance that goes into a Lamborghini or a Ferrari? Instead, by keeping it simple and ensuring that all of your basic needs are met, you are gonna end up keeping more money and your money is gonna go much further. And at the end of the day, to get ahead financially, the formula is dumb simple. Income minus expenses, and if that is a big difference, you're well on your way to getting ahead. However, the most common pitfall people experience on their journey up as they're making more money, as they are thinking of themselves as being quote unquote rich, that expense also starts ticking higher and higher. And if the expense side of the equation is growing at a faster pace than the income side, then suddenly you're not so rich. Suddenly, all of the excess that's required to say keep up that 10,000 square foot mansion, in addition to the mortgage you already owe on that, is starting to make you house poor. Suddenly having a rotation of 2, 3, 4, 5 sports cars and all the associated maintenance required doesn't look like such a great idea, because at the end of the day, you're really only driving one car at a time. Instead, by keeping your life simple and focusing on long-term goals, you'll adopt a financial mindset that's a lot more modest, which ultimately is gonna lead you to keeping more money in your bank account and staying rich. Reason number 2 why it's important to look poor: avoiding social competition. We evolved with the monkey brain up here, and this monkey brain has done very well for us. It allowed us to find food, find shelter, and find mates. We are inherently a competitive species. However, in the 21st century, the social competition of flexing your peacock feathers to others around you is completely counterintuitive and is actually a detriment to your financial well-being. In other words, don't keep up with the Joneses. For one, you have no idea what is going on behind the scenes with other people. Do they come from generational wealth? Are they drowning in debt? You have no clue. And so when you go out and try to show everyone how successful you are, how much money you have, the big house, the fancy car, the designer clothes, well, what is that really signaling? And is that really what you are about, right? Because again, this idea of social competition, it is inherent in the monkey brain, but it's something we need to be able to suppress. And I get it. It feels good to be celebrated. It's awesome to get a promotion, a new job, a raise. And every time that does happen, we get a little bit of a dopamine hit. But you want to be sure that you're keeping that dopamine hit internal and that you're not then going for external validation to show people, hey, I've got a 25% pay raise. Let me go buy this new sports car and drive around and let everyone know. People don't really care as much as you think they do. What you're ultimately doing is digging yourself a bigger hole to get out of. And would you be surprised if I told you that the most common car that millionaires drive are things like Hondas and Toyotas and Fords? They're not what you think of as the shiny Mercedes, BMWs, or exotic sports cars. Again, that is just what a poor person thinks a rich person ought to drive. However, a rich person actually does not drive that at all. The third reason it's important to look poor: you avoid the debt trap. When you want to upgrade your life, the bigger house, the nicer car, the designer clothes, it also comes with debt. Now, I will say, debt as leverage, when used correctly, such as in an FHA, house hack, buying real estate, being an investor, that's good debt. However, going and taking out a massive loan to buy a $5 million mansion because, well, you feel as if you need to prove something to someone, well, that is just dumb debt. And dumb debt is nothing but a financial anchor that's gonna drag you down. And I'll be honest with y'all, the debt trap is a really easy one to fall into. As you make more money, suddenly it seems like you can access more money, whether it's straight up getting a loan for a home, whether it's credit card debt, or whether it's a margin account to start trading with in the stock market. But unless you know exactly what you're doing with that, and unless those reasons are inherent to your overall financial plan, do not say yes. Do not just take that debt. Reason number 4, it's important to look poor. I love this one. This probably is one of my favorite. Negotiating power. This one sounds counterintuitive, I know, but stick with me. You might think pulling up to a situation with the Rolex, with the Gucci, with the brand new Benz, that somehow you're gonna get better deals. Well, it's actually quite the opposite of that. And I've certainly had my fair share of that as a real estate investor with 3 properties in Boston. And the concept is simple. If you look like you have money, people will naturally assume you have money. And when it comes to, say, getting a bid for a job site, let's say you need some contractors to do some work around the house, let's say you're talking to a landscaper, they're gonna quote you high. Why is that? Well, you look like you have money. That is inherent human nature. And so by appearing to have a much more modest lifestyle, you're less likely to get taken advantage of because you've got all these shiny, fancy objects sitting around the home. Reason number 5, it's important to look poor. Happiness comes from here. It does not come from the dollar signs going out and putting more stuff into your life. In fact, I don't know a single person who has gone out and acquired more stuff into their life and suddenly all of their problems went away. At the end of the day, marriage, kids, work, stress, that is still gonna be there regardless of how much money you make and how much money you want to tell other people you make. If you have problems today, by getting rich and telling other people you are rich, they won't solve those problems. You gotta look inside here to figure out what makes you tick. And I wanna be real for a moment and ask all of you out there, why do you want to be rich? Because growing up, there was always a sense of, okay, we want to go to a good school, get a good job, make a bunch of money. But then what is all that money for? And American consumerism will tell you, well, that money is for filling your life with more stuff. The latest and greatest, a brand new phone, a new laptop, a big screen TV. But why do we actually want those things? Sure, some of you might argue, well, it's because, you've got the high def 4K, 120p slow motion. But what does that actually contribute ultimately to your life satisfaction? Because I can tell you as a fact, there is no single person who is on their deathbed looking back on their life and wishing they made an additional dollar, or they wish that there was another 0 in their bank account. Because at the end of the day, you can't take that with you. When you go 6 feet under, you're going 6 feet under. So I would argue, use money as a tool to live a more fulfilled life for you and your family. Don't live it for other people. Because as we mentioned earlier in the video, other people don't care about you. Trust me. Hopefully you took something out of this. These are the 5 reasons why it's important to look poor and ultimately how it's gonna help you get rich and stay rich. Comments, questions down below. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.